Is Solana a buy right now, or is it going to continue to go lower? In this video, we're going to dive into some analytics and data to see what we think in the short term, midterm, and long term. Of course, Solana had a massive dropout with the FTX failure here. Solana here, look at that, on November 5th, which was Saturday, November 5th, was up here at almost $38. It had a massive drop down to basically $12 in a matter of a few days. That leaves many people wondering, well, what's the future of Solana look like? Is it a good trade right now, at least in the short term? What's the long term look like? What's the FTX balance going to do for all this? We're going to dive into that in this video. You are not going to want to miss it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's dive in. Let's start by looking at some of the facts. This is important to realize right here. Solana DeFi sees almost 700 million in value wiped out in the FTX fallout because FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was a prominent backer of the network. You probably know that. Let's dive into some more information here. So at their peak last November, speaking of Solana DeFi, the DeFi application stored more than $10 billion on the Solana network. Right? And its popularity was being led by high-flying proponents, including Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of FTX, and then Multicoin Capital, Sino Global, and other venture funds. So Solana DeFi was pretty high, and it's lost 700 million. Well, where did it come from? Very important to find out. So you'll want to hear this. Check this out. A year later, the total value locked has dropped to just over 300 million, with FTX filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy, Multicoin and Sino Global also reporting multi-million-dollar losses, and the Solana Foundation itself losing tens of millions of dollars. Not sounding so good for being a buy, or does it? Stick around, we're going to dive in a little deeper. So while the $10 billion TVL on Solana has declined over the past year, the price of SOL contributed to that drop, right? So when we talk about $10 billion locked into Solana a year ago, we're talking about like all-time highs. The price of Solana has come down a bit, so it's not necessarily the number of users or number of the coins on the network has dropped or contributed to that entire drop. The drop in the price of SOL has dropped. With that being said, in a bear market, what do? We buy at great values. So the question is SOL a great value? Is it a buy? I think we got to keep looking. So more than $700 million has exited Solana-based applications, a 70% drop from the $1 billion in TVL, total value locked, on November 2nd. So at the height last year, we had 10 billion a year ago. And since the prices of everything went down, there was 1 billion in the Solana DeFi ecosystem as of November 2nd. But now it's down to 300 million, hence the drop of 700 million. Look at this. SOL's 50% price drop has contributed to that fall, alongside falling prices of related DeFi tokens. So when they say that more than 700 million has exited the Solana-based applications, it's not necessarily that it left the DeFi ecosystem. That's very important to note. The largest portion of that is just from the drop in value of the tokens. Welcome to crypto. Check this out. Lending and borrowing platform SoLend took the biggest hit. It held over 280 million on November 2nd and now holds under 30 million. Yikes. That's a big ouch. Data shows a vast amount of stablecoins, wrapped Bitcoin, and Solana-based tokens have left the protocol. Stablecoins and wrapped Bitcoin are definitely not what you want to leave the protocol. So Radium and Orca are now the largest decentralized applications on the network, locking up over 51 million and 46 million respectively. So that's almost 100 million. Both have seen over 40% in liquidity exit the platform in the past week, and both held over 150 million just a few weeks ago. So Solana and its ecosystem is certainly taking a big hit. That's no surprise to any of us, but the question still remains, is it a buy, right? Because we like to buy when there's blood in the streets, right? But only if we feel confident that it's going to come back. So that's what we're really searching for here. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Amid all the drama, some say the declines might help the market find a fair value for Solana and other networks. And here's a quote. Solana has undoubtedly taken a massive blow, and the consequences of this blow seem far more dramatic and painful than for other blockchains, says Alexei Kuleve, co-founder of Walken. This is what he told CoinDesk in a Telegram message. Yet, we're in the midst of a bear market. Restless and unpredictable as it may be, it will eventually reveal the true worth of projects and tokens, which is what we're wondering about Solana. Does it have long-term value? Is it going to stay around? Is this the end of Solana, or is it a good buy right now? I don't think the decision can be made yet. Let's dive into some more info. And to do that, I want to look at this article because the big elephant in the room is FTX has a lot of Solana. Well, how much do they have? What kind of effect, if they sell all their Solana, is it going to have on the market? This article, and what we're going to go over right now, goes to answer that question, at least to the best we can, because that is a crucial piece of information in knowing if Solana is a buy right now or something to avoid, maybe even a sell. So Solana entities sold 50 million tokens to FTX. So how long will Sol price suffer? Again, most of FTX's Solana exposure stands vested, meaning FTX's will gradually gain access to millions of Sol up to January 2028. So that's interesting. That's interesting. So you're telling me FTX doesn't have all this Solana it's supposed to have. It's going to get it given to them over time up to January 2028. Well, how much do they have right now? How much are they going to get over time, especially in the short term here? And how much of that is going to even be able to be sold? Is it going to go into bankruptcy court? Let's check this out. So look at this. So FTX and Alameda exposure hurting Solana price. Let's dive in. FTX and its sister firm Alameda Research is liable to have control of over 50 million Sol. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. FTX entities recently received 4 million Sol from the Solana Foundation on August 31st, 2020. They also started receiving a portion of 12 million Sol from September 11, 2020. And here, check this out. I wanted you to see the word started. Started receiving nearly 34.5 million Sol from January 7th of 2021 through a linear monthly unlock mechanism. Here's the chart right here, right? So on August 31st, they received 4 million. On September 11th, 2020, they started to receive a portion of this 12 million that will be linear monthly unlocked from this date. From this date, 21 to 27. Right? And down here, 34.5 million linear unlock from 2022 to 2028. So they don't have possession of 50 million Sol, not even close. So their sell pressure on the network is not near as big as what many would have you believe. So that, to me, is a little bit more on the buy side of the equation. Let's dive in deeper. This is Alameda's. Alameda, on February 17, 2021, 7.5 million Sol in this transaction, but again, the full balance unlocks in 2025. So I don't think they have any of this right now. And over here, they did get a little bit on May 17th, 2021, but the full balance still doesn't unlock until 2025. So FTX entities, again, let's just dive into this just to read what we looked at in the chart. FTX entities started receiving portions of the 7.5 mil, right, from Solana Labs. Most Sol tokens promised to FTX and Alameda are vested, so it means FTX doesn't have access to them. They can't sell them, meaning the firm does not yet have them in custody and is liable to receive them through the linear monthly unlock mechanism. The last of these unlocks will occur January 2028, quite a ways away. That leaves the market with interpretations about what might happen to the Sol tokens once they are unlocked, given FTX's bankruptcy filing that's likely to put a freeze on all remaining funds. Here's a little tweet. Looks like most of the Sol for FTX is still locked, which is interesting with bankruptcy going on. How do you think it will be settled? My guess is that the trustee will try to sell it over the counter to get funds to pay back creditors. But the key to pay attention to there is that seems like that's going to take quite a while. Nothing anytime soon for sure. Also, firm reportedly has FTX has $9 billion in liabilities versus $1 billion on its asset sheets. So that could prompt its trustees to liquidate Sol holdings to repay debtors. But as we are seeing, they don't have a very large percentage of their promised Sol because it's going to get given to them over time. So the sell pressure from the FTX and Alameda holdings of Solana seems to be way less significant than we were first believing. And to avoid such a scenario, Solana could make technical changes to its token economy. Check this out. Here's 4 things they came up with. They could have the errant allocation be burned, which would be the allocation, errant meaning going away from good standards, which they're basically just referring to FTX's allocation. They just burn it. One of their possibilities is they just burn it. They never give it to FTX. They just burn it. Very interesting. That would have a very positive effect on price pressure, which would make me want to buy. Increase the lock to 10 years on the FTX allocation. Okay, that would delay the selling that much more. And airdrop all Solana token holders additional Solana except for FTX and Alameda. And the 4th possibility is a combination of these 3. I don't see this airdrop making much sense. I don't quite understand why they would do that one. If they did take the locked up FTX Alameda tokens and airdrop them to other Solana holders, okay, I'm cool with that. That means they wouldn't be burning any. But I might be okay with the burn because that would reduce the supply of Solana and therefore push the price pressure up. All of these, though, would be bullish for Solana tokenomics. Check this out. So are we going to get a relief bounce? So from a technical perspective, again, looking at charts, Solana shows signs of bullish divergence between its price and RSI, Relative Strength Index. And a bullish divergence means that when the price goes lower, momentum shifts and starts pushing up. That is usually a bullish sign for things to pop up, and we are seeing that possibly forming on the daily chart, right? And that could push Solana's price towards $18. Seems to be a range resistance, in my opinion. I actually found resistance up into the 20s, so interesting. On a longer-term time frame, Solana could also see further decline towards $2.50. So on a longer-term time frame, longer than the daily, maybe the weekly time frame, or which would be an 80% drop in 2023, based on the giant head and shoulder setup seen below, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, down, and that's where they put it at, about $2.50. And interestingly, the token's downside target falls in its most voluminous, not for your hair, range per its volume profile visible range, which is this humongous bar here. They're saying that there's massive volume in this bar. So it's hitting it right here. What they're saying is it came down and hit the top of this volume bar. So this is actually a decent amount of support here. Getting down to 250 may be a challenge, but is it possible? Of course it is. But overall, what I'm taking out of all of this, when I'm looking at what's going on, I think that I am a buy. I think I'm a buy in the short term on Solana because I see it as having a bounce. Again, we have a bullish divergence forming. FTX doesn't have near the amount of Solana that we thought it had, so that sell pressure is nowhere near what we thought it might be. And Solana still has a lot of good things going on its network. Here we are on DApp Radar showing some of the most popular dApps on the Solana network. Of course, we talked about DeFi taking a big hit, but a lot of that seemed to be because of the drop in value of the token, not necessarily a lot of people and coins leaving the network. Although we did have stablecoin and wrapped Bitcoin leave the network, which makes sense, but it could very well come back. I think we have hit a bottom in at least the short to midterm on Solana. So we have, say, Saber right here, 4.74 million volume on the day. Magic Eden, the main NFT platform, that's something we didn't talk about either, is after Ethereum, Solana is by far the number 2 NFT platform. And NFTs are much more than just monkey pictures. It is a groundbreaking technology, is what it is. It's the digitization of assets. Humongous, world-changing stuff. Solend, we talked about that. Larix, Mercurial, Parrot, Marinate, it tells you what they are. A lot of them are DeFi. Radium, as we saw. So there's still a lot of good things going on here. Steppen, if you're familiar with that, that's on the Solana network. It's on multiple networks now, and now it's connected with Binance and Ethereum also. But there's a lot of things still going on here. These aren't exactly going to go away. I think Solana has seen at least a short-term bottom, and me personally, not financial advice, I've been buying when it hits $12 to $14. I've been buying because I foresee, in my opinion, a good bounce to at least 18, but I think it's going to get to the 20s. And if we see something, if anything, somewhat bullish or good news comes out about Solana, it's just going to send it up. And I see the upper range possibly being $28. So to me, it's a buy. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Have a good day.